Hey everybody. Hey everybody, this is Feldspar. This is a quick video on healing and basically how I have my setup. I wanted to go through some of my add-ons, um, and what I typically do is I use the standard raid frames that Blizzard provides, and then I use raid frames for any kind of party. It would be nice if I was in a party here. I could show you kind of what it looks like. I make sure I have this checked off because I like to see what all is affecting the tanks and or anybody. Even though I can't dispel it, maybe I need to uh, help heal through it. I also like to show health remaining and show mana and uh, class colors. Aggro highlight is really helpful because a lot of times I will uh, uh, click on the person and then put a hand of salvation if I'm quick enough, and usually it's not a problem, but sometimes it would be a little handier if that was just on um, a mouse button or you know, either a click, which is another add-on I have, or um, on one of my buttons. But right now I don't have a lot of real estate for buttons, and I don't it's not used that often. So um, the other add-on I wanted to show you, uh, yeah, I've got several here, um, is Need to Know. So what Need to Know is it's a nice little add-on that um, you can create. You can show several bars that can track spell cooldowns or dots you have on a target, or kind of any or like any kind of self buffs and stuff like that. So one thing I do a lot of times is um, I'll cast a I might set somebody as a focus, and I will cast Eternal Flame on them. So over here, it'll show my Eternal Flame is running on the focus target, and I think, yeah, I have another one that's actually set up on my target. So I could set one tank as the target and the other off tank as my focus, and I can keep track of Eternal Flame on them if I wanted to, or I could keep track of any kind of hot that I have on them. It's pretty handy, and so for Need to Know, it's just slash ntk will bring up um, the bar, and for this you can just choose what buff or debuff you want to monitor, give it a name, or give it the right name, and it'll keep track of it. And there's other settings as well. So like spell cooldown, uh, whether it's a buff or a debuff, and then if it's a debuff, it could be on you. Maybe it's a particular boss fight that will they'll debuff you with something, so you might want to keep track of that either on your focus or on your target, or on the boss or something. So it's pretty versatile. I use it on almost all my characters, and like you saw a little bit ago, I had a so when you cast Holy Radiance, you'll gain a buff called Daybreak, and basically Daybreak will kind of do an AoE heal whenever you do your Holy Shock. So sometimes that's helpful to know that it's up or not. You can put it a little closer to where it might matter to you. The other thing I noticed, with the standard, with the stock UI that you get, your character frame is up in the top, and your target frame is up in the top left as well. So what I've done is using the same with Blizzard UI. I've moved my move my frames to where I think that they're a little bit more in the center of the screen. So typically, when you have, let me clear this out. So let's say I target somebody. So I have something targeted, and typically I can kind of keep my eyes in the middle of the screen, and just with a little bit of movement to the left or the right, I can look at my character or look at the target, um, and then without having to look, down at the bottom of the screen or the top of the screen or somewhere left or right, I keep my eyes in the center. So in a lot of fights, you're going to have to be moving out of something or moving into something, and this is what keeping your eyes in the middle is probably the main thing with raiding, and keeping your eyes as focused as you can, so you're avoiding stuff basically. So some other things, I use mouse over macros for most of my healing spells. So I don't have to, I could target that person, but when I cast my spell, it's gonna heal that guy because my mouse is over him. Um, and those are pretty handy. It's a lot faster. Well, you certainly don't want to click on somebody and then click on your abilities. That's just way too slow. And I used to use, well, I actually still use a program, an add-on called Click, which allows me to click on somebody, either a combination of keys. Typically I use Shift and Alt to use the button that I wanted to use. So if I wanted to do lay on hands on somebody, I've got that memorized. I've learned where that ability is and what I need to cast. And some of the more rare abilities that I cast, I typically use Click for. So like Beacon, I don't transfer that between people left all the time, so I keep it use Click to do it, and then anything I want fast reaction to is I will be using my key my keyboard to do. And typically you move around with your left, right, your AWSD keys, Q and E. I still use S for backup. Sometimes it's handy, to make small adjustments too. Let's see. So some examples of Click. I can put Beacon of Light on myself. If I want to cleanse this person, I can click and do that. I can't do that because I have to be in a party. Let's see. The other things that are handy is using keybinds, and that way you're able to utilize more of the more buttons that are nearby. So like G, F, R, T. I use X, R, T, and G. So let's see. My X button is probably going to be my Fist of Justice or whatever is in this slot 8. T is this one here, and it just takes a while. Once you set them up, I would set them up for all your characters that way, and you just put in the ability that you want to cast in that slot. Now, there's other UIs people can build that look really nice, but a lot of times I like to just use the standard one if I can. I've tried a few others that were okay, but then they were a little bit difficult to set up. They were also didn't quite show everything I wanted it to show. So rather than spend a lot of time on that, I just focused on, using the standard UI as best I can. Um, let's see, the other one, so like R, and then if I want to cast, I've got not Word of Glories, Eternal Flame. I can use my G key, which will put that on there. And a lot of that is just, you can customize it however you want to. Whatever feels right to you, whatever keys you can reach, and just go from there. The other thing I would say, too, is it's nice to have Crusader Strike nearby. You can Crusader Strike, which will give you a charge of Holy Power, and then follow that up with a Holy Shock, and then you could Light of Dawn if you wanted to. That's somewhat wasteful, but so you're using 3, but on some fights you might actually want to do that because there's no time to cast anything else, especially on Thok. There's cases like that. So I think that's it for the most part. I've got some macros that I will include in the comments. As far as glyphs and stuff, a lot of them is personal taste. I prefer speed of light, which I actually have keybound to a mouse button that I have on the left side of my mouse. So I have an extra mouse button that I can use to press that. So, I like, style-wise, I like Holy Prism a little bit better. It just depends on the fight. If there was no raid damage at all, then I would probably go with Execution Sentence. If it was just the tank taking damage, but I haven't really seen a fight like that. And typically I leave a lot of this stuff as is. Hand of Purity could come in handy on some fights, but the other thing is there's, I've heard of a Selfless Healer rotation where people will use Selfless Healer and they'll use Judgment to generate Holy Power. So I really want to try that on Thok, but I just haven't practiced it enough to get a feel for it. Plus, I really like Eternal Flame a lot. Let's see, the other thing is, as far as I've got a lot of pretty good, I'm wearing my Retribution gear here, but with my Holy gear on, I'm pretty high level, 565, so for a while I was running with about 17k Spirit, and I felt that was a good amount to give me enough regen, particularly on fights where there were 2 healing it. Since then, I've gotten a trinket that grants me 25k Spirit for 10 seconds, and then it slowly ticks off. So I've lowered my Spirit down to 15k just to kind of balance that out. So as far as mana and stuff, if you feel that you're stretched on mana, then you probably need to increase Spirit a little bit and just play around with it. Carry some Spirit gems in your bag or other gems, and swap things out as you feel right. As far as I think haste, there's a breakpoint for haste. I think it's probably around 3,043-ish. I also use Reforged Light, which is pretty handy if I want to, let's see, I think I have a custom one here somewhere. Let's see, probably one of these. Yeah, the breakpoint is 3106, and once you reach that, well, you can just tell it to calculate and then show and then reforge. But there's a setting wrong here. It's not. It's at 16K spirit, so I don't want to reforge. I think that's about it. Typically during if you look at some of my other videos, I tend to cast a lot of Holy Radiance, mainly because it creates a charge of Holy Power, and then you're going to want to Holy Shock when it's on cooldown, you know, pretty much as you can, even if there's no advantage to you know, you cast Holy Radiance, and oh well, don't worry necessarily about building up Daybreak charges, because you know, sometimes it's just wasted. And sometimes I'm casting Holy Radiance, and the only person there is they're the only person there. It would kind of help if they stack up, but they both cost about the same amount of mana, and they kind of both heal for about the same amount. So, well, not quite, but you know. So, if it's really important, then you cast Divine Light. But you know, there's not anybody taking that much damage except for one of the tanks, and usually the tanks are together and stuff. So. I'll be posting more videos of the fights we're in. We typically either 3 heal or 2 heal. It's probably not as exciting on a 3 heal fight, especially if nobody's taking a lot of damage, as we get better and better gear, and you know, the other healers are keeping people up. It gets to a point where there's not as much excitement, which is fine with me. So anyway, I think that will do it. I think I've gone through most everything I wanted to go through. I hope if you have any questions, post them in the comments, and feel free to subscribe to my channel. And as I post more videos, you'll get updated. So thanks, and have a good day.